journey back to western Bhutan. We then flew safely through the passes of the Himalayas and back to Los Angeles, where we took our photographic vertebrae evidence to Dr. Jim Dines of the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History to find out the origin of these venerated bones.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. How you doing?
Pretty good. I've been looking at the photos that you sent me.
Based on these, can you make some sort of determination as to what these vertebrae came from?
First of all, I determined that it was a lumbar vertebra, so that's the lower backbone from a mammal.
Could these vertebrae be human?
The bones depicted in the photographs are way too big to be from a human.
Having delved into the museum's collection, do these vertebrae line up with anything in the collection?
Actually, they do. This bone that I'm holding up is from an American black bear, and if we hold it up to the photograph, you can see it matches up almost exactly with the photographs, which isn't to say the photo is of an American black bear, but there is such thing as an Asian black bear. It's about the same size as an American black bear.
Okay, so we don't have a Yeti on our hands.
I'm afraid to tell you we do not have a Yeti on our hands.
And what of the hair sample we recovered in Bhutan? Would it also turn out to be that of a known animal? To find out, I hopped on a plane and headed for Houston, Texas. Here in the Lone Star State, I drove due east to the DNA Diagnostics Forensics Lab in the slightly out-of-the-way town of Timpson. That is, if I could find Timpson.
How could there be less towns in Texas than in Bhutan? Am I in the West or the Old West right now?
I finally sat down with Dr. Melba Ketchum, an experienced forensic analyst who had been working on the hair samples we collected in Bhutan.
I didn't think we would have anything to talk about here, to be honest. I was just going to rule out Yeti and be done with it. I submitted the sequence that we obtained from this hair sample to a large international database that scientists use to deposit their sequence data. Well, at first I was very skeptical because we've had these things come into our lab in the past and they've never panned out to be anything interesting. However, this sample did test very clearly on the human panel of markers. That makes it a primate, and it makes it a large primate.
And how are we sure that it isn't just human contamination or that it's just DNA from human hair?
The hair, visually, is not human. It's coarser than horse tail hair.
What she told me next seemed unbelievable.
Initial searches indicate that it's an unknown sequence. There are literally millions of sequences in this database, and we're really shocked to find that it didn't match any of the species exactly on the database.
What would be required in order for us to say, from a DNA standpoint, the Yeti is a real animal?
If we're going to prove that there potentially is a new species with this first hair sample here, we really need more hair samples like it. And once you establish there's a group of animals, that will go a long ways toward proving that there is a new species indeed.
There are no large primates in Bhutan, and the doctor's belief that we may well have tangible evidence of an unknown animal is a major development in this story and potentially a huge find for my team. We were emboldened by the doctor to continue our search, knowing that this discovery adds yet another page to a growing body of evidence that suggests that somewhere, in part of the last truly untouched wilderness on Earth, a distant relative of the human race may still be alive and waiting to be discovered.